Welcome to the Musar video blog. Well, it looks like springtime is here, and I was walking outside in the daytime and I was enjoying the fresh air, and I started thinking, you know, the Chovos HaLevavos, duties of our heart, is talking all the time about how much we have to be appreciative of all the blessings that we have all around us. And as I was taking some deep breaths and just enjoying the air, I said, wow, you know, I never actually spent too much time contemplating, looking into how great it is to breathe. So I decided I would just Google breathing and just see what I came up with. And it's actually amazing. It's so complicated. So many things have to work together. I mean, the air comes in through our mouth, through our nose, it goes down through the throat, it goes down through the bronchial tubes, goes into the lungs. It's much more complicated. I'm just giving the abridged version. It goes into all kinds of sacs. So what happens is there's muscles, the diaphragm. The diaphragm goes in a certain direction, expands the lungs. There's other muscles connecting it to the front of the ribs, and the lungs start to expand. And when they expand, the air gets pulled in, and the oxygen goes in and fills up the sacs. Now here you have in the sacs, they're tiny, and they're surrounded by blood vessels. And these blood vessels, there's a thin membrane between the sacs and between the blood vessels, and the oxygen that's in the lungs, in those little sacs, goes into the blood. And the blood, which has brought the carbon dioxide, which is a waste product from the body, puts the carbon dioxide back into the lungs. And this is going on at the same time in a very short time. And when we exhale, and the muscles, you know, relax and compress the lungs, and then all of a sudden the air starts to come out the other direction, and we just shoot out all the carbon dioxide, which we don't want in our bodies. Meanwhile, the blood gets circulated through the heart, gets sent all over the body with the oxygen, and it's providing oxygen for all the parts of our body. There's blood vessels all over the place, and those blood vessels provide the oxygen for all the cells in the body, all the way from the toes to the brain, to the fingers, to the elbows, to the knees, to inside, outside, you name it. And as it's giving the oxygen to those parts of the body, I mean the whole parts of the body, at the same time it's extracting the waste product, which is the carbon dioxide, takes it back into the blood and then keeps circulating, eventually works its way back to the lungs and shoots it back into the lungs going exhale it out into the air. And of course there's all kinds of sensors. There's sensors all around the lungs, there's sensors in the brains that anytime the sensors detect that there may be not enough oxygen, so we start to breathe harder. When we do exercise and we need more oxygen, the sensors detect it. They start expanding the lungs faster, pushing out the carbon dioxide faster, which is breathing harder and harder. And as the body becomes more settled and we don't need the oxygen as much, so then the sensors sense that and they slow down the whole process. When something goes into our lungs that shouldn't be there, so the sensors shoot it out. And of course there's all kinds of mechanisms to prevent foreign particles from getting there. There's all these little hairs, cilia, that are along the whole membranes all along going down into the lungs, and there's mucus which sort of like gets all this stuff to stick to it and doesn't let it down. The mechanism, and I'm giving it to you very, very concisely, in great brevity, and a very simplified model, but it's so darn complicated, and it's incredible that the whole thing works at lightning speed. All this stuff, the in and the out, and the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, and the detection of foreign particles, and all this is happening in split seconds, literally. And it just goes on and on and on. We don't have to do anything. The sensors in the body sense it. Once in a while, something goes wrong, and conditions kick in to react to the problems there, and we try to heal ourselves. And once in a while, we need some outside intervention. But it's an incredible system. It's an incredible system. So if we're ever wondering, you know, what has God done for us lately? Take a deep breath and say, wow, this is absolutely awesome. Wow, fantastic. So if you're ever wondering, is there something to be grateful about? Take a deep breath. Think about it, enjoy it, relish the moment, and say, hey, Hashem, thanks for that. One more thing, when we go to the bathroom, there's a bracha that we say afterwards, and if you don't say this bracha, I highly recommend it, in which we thank Hashem for how the body works. So if you have an opportunity, say this bracha, make it a regular habit, and just don't take for granted the amazing, amazing, amazing workings of the body. See you next time.